A civil marriage is not a marriage. Why? Well, first of all, because it's a substitution of concepts. After all, until recently, a civil marriage was one that was officially registered. The church respects a true civil marriage. But what is now called a civil marriage is not a marriage at all. So what is it? Anything you like, but not a marriage. Because marriage is a union between a man and a woman with the purpose of creating a family. It dates back to the very first people created by God. Those getting married announce to society they are entering a union, and society in turn recognizes this union. Spouses have certain rights and responsibilities each other and towards society. And society in turn has obligations toward the family. Believers ask for God's blessing for their life together and for children. Orthodox Christians regard marriage as a sacrament, a sacred act in which they receive God's grace, helping them overcome difficulties and move toward God. Which of the things mentioned can be attributed to what is now called a civil marriage? All of this has long become outdated. What does a stamp in the passport give you? Isn't it God who sends love, they tell us? God gives love, but who told you that this is love? Let's live together for a while. What if we're not right for each other? The man usually suggests. And so he lives, takes advantage, he gets everything without bearing any responsibility. For him, it's a kind of freedom, albeit a flawed one, which implies, perhaps not always consciously, the possibility of leaving, that is, betraying if someone more advantageous comes along. Of course, it's not about who will cook him borscht or wash his jeans. It's all about feelings, the girl thinks. For her, it's an illusion of marriage. She imagines that by giving her beloved everything one could dream of, he will truly stop dreaming. As a rule, the initiator of such a relationship is the man, but in most cases the victim of a common law marriage is the woman. After all, experience, even negative, makes a man more experienced. But an experienced woman, how should I put it, loses points. So don't be too quick to call a relationship love when it's really just a rough draft. Love is above all responsibility. Responsibility to the person, to society, but most importantly to God. A common law marriage, on the other hand, is an attempt to avoid responsibility. And at the foundation of such relationships lies not love but selfishness. The Church has always been unequivocal in its assessment of this phenomenon. It calls it more simply and directly fornication. And fornication, as everyone knows, 7 non-believers, is a sin. And like any sin, it brings suffering. Suffering as a consequence of broken lives, stolen time, very often the best years of a person's life. Pain caused by betrayal, often darkened by the blood of children killed in the womb. Pangs of conscience, hurt caused to relatives and loved ones, and so on. And yet it all starts out so beautifully. Although, is it really beautiful? We forgot about the true beauty of relationships when we lost their purity. The thing is, civil marriage as a symptom is a consequence of the loss of spiritual immunity. Having lost God, we became defenseless against sin's temptation, and the rampant, shameless propaganda aimed at destroying basic human values. One such value has always been the family. For millennia, people lived as families, and marriage was the foundation upon which individual and societal life was built. From the Gospel, we know how Christ regarded marriage. He blessed marriage with his presence and the miracle of turning water into wine in Cana of Galilee. Christ's words: "Whoever looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart," testify to the strictness of the gospel's moral requirements. Apostle Paul calls marriage a sacrament, likening marital relations to Christ and the Church. But now new times have come, and we are persistently persuaded, or to be more precise, brazenly forced to believe the family as an institution has outlived its usefulness, and civil marriage is seen as a step on the path to the complete liberation and disfigurement of people. Why is this necessary? To make us slaves, but not God's slaves. And judging by how quickly sin has lost sense of prohibition, we ourselves are in a hurry to become slaves. We are becoming them. After all, a battle is always fought for our souls. The battlefield is the human heart. On one side, there is the God we have forgotten, and on the other, a fallen spirit, Satan, who is not taken seriously, but is no less real and dangerous because of it. And we are forever torn, chasing our petty passions in search of happiness. People have mixed up everything and have lost everything they should never have lost. They have given up everything that makes us human. But conscience and shame, as one of its manifestations, must never be lost, because by losing conscience, the moral law instilled in us by God or person becomes disfigured and turns not even into a beast, but into something akin to the demon-like enemies of God. And anyone who fights against God will ultimately fail. The sooner we realize this, the better.